Mike Moore Media.
I'm excited to have on our media line Jim Ivey at the Eden Historical Museum in Uptown Eden on Washington Street. Jim, we haven't talked in a long time, but it's great to get an update from you on the Eden Historical Museum, which is absolutely a wonderful museum, and we're so fortunate that you are there and your volunteers making it happen.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you very much. I don't take responsibility for the quality of what's there. Melissa Witten, who started it, is responsible for that. My job right now is just try to keep it going.
Well, you're doing an outstanding job, and I want people to know that may even not realize that live right here in Eden, in Rockingham County, that maybe have never been in the Eden Historical Museum. Let's take a walk through the front door, and you just kind of give us a quick tour. Jim, what do you have there?
Okay, the way when you come in, of course, there's a counter and a big picture mural type thing in front of you. But as you circle around the museum, it's designed to start at the beginning, which is the rock and the history and the fossils from the solite plant and the geology of the area. And it goes to the Indians and then to the river and then to war and textiles and more modern businesses and back around to military stuff and schools. It's just, we've added some stuff. It's sort of a hodgepodge running through it now, but we're sort of cramped for space for big things. But, you know, we're taking new pictures all the time and finding new stuff and trying to create file and order from all the stuff we do have.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And you do have a lot of stuff. I mean, I love this museum, and we're so fortunate. It's just such a quality museum, and all of the things that are there. Just if you're new to the area, you've got to get by the Eden Historical Museum. It's at 655 Washington Street, Uptown Eden, Old Leakesville area, which the history right there in itself, developing really the first shopping area, the first area going way back to when for Old Leakesville. Jim, when was that?
When did the museum start?
Well, the museum too, but when did Old Leakesville? It was founded in what year?
1796.
1796. I thought it was somewhere around there. But
Yes.
The museum, we've had the museum how many years?
12.
12 years.
12 or 15. I wasn't involved in the beginning because I was still teaching school, but somewhere around 2010 or a little before, a little after, I can't remember.
Yeah, okay. All right. Well, we want to talk about the future of the museum and what it's going to take to make things continue to happen.
Well, I'm working on 2 or 3 projects, if you will. I could always use volunteers to help me carry them out, but we're trying to collect memories. When people come in and they see something and we start talking, I realize they're talking about something that's probably not written down, but was important to them at the time. And it just brings back these memories they have of growing up, pleasant memories. Mm-hmm. And we're trying to collect those memories. And we use those to trigger other people will hear the same thing or see the same thing, and it may trigger different memories. And it's nice and neat as an historian to see 3 or 4 people talking about the same event and seeing it from 4 different eyes.
Oh, sure.
And how that builds a whole that is so good to see and understand and better understand what happened at that time. Mm-hmm. So in that light, we're trying to do that. We're opening up to some oral history type stuff and looking for people to write down their local history, their personal histories, whatnot. I'm also trying to reestablish the walking tours of downtown Leakesville. I had a group come in from somewhere up in Virginia who went from museum to museum, and this is what they did. They would find a local museum and call them, you do a walking tour. And so I volunteered to do it for these people, and they seemed very appreciative. And we used to do them back in the 80s. The Preservation Society did for several years. And so what I like to do is reestablish that and bring it back up to date, because at this point in time, there is only one business with the same name and the same family ownership that existed in Eden in 1980.
And that business would be?
Right across the street from the museum.
Yeah.
Stone Furniture.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that's it. So all the others have changed names, changed hands, not the same thing going on in the building, that sort of thing. So we bring it up to date. I want to do that. And we're looking at some other things we could do as well, but those are the two major projects that I'm working on right now.
And when you look at the just to go up and down the streets, and we're concentrating, we're driving along Washington Street, we're concentrating on the traffic, we're waving to our friends, that kind of stuff. Sometimes people don't look up and see the architecture and the beautiful work that's there up above us. We kind of overlook stuff like that too, don't we?
Yes, we do. And if you look at it, you may start to wonder why one of the side of the street's different from the other. Mm-hmm. And the reason for that is there were several large fires in the late 1800s, and particularly in the block across the street from the museum. Basically, it was razed. Whatever was there is gone totally, and that's all been built since 1900, where a lot of the buildings on the south side of the street predate the 1900s. So, that's history and vision that you can see the occurrence. The fire brought kids from the old institute where the Leesville High School was, the junior high intermediate school, when that was an institute with boarding students coming to school. Those students came out and helped fight those fires back in the 1800s. Mm-hmm. So, you just don't see that unless you know what's going on really sometimes.
That's exactly right. And there's another whole program right there on that academy, isn't it?
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yes. It's a shame that it's all gone. I'm not going to complain any more than that.
Yeah,
it would be nice if one of those buildings could have been saved.
Well, in the 50-plus years I've been here, we've lost Burton Grove, and I just think of, how the kids, they were all there, our kids, and, we're not going to dwell on that, but we need to concentrate on the future and how we don't let these things get away from us anymore. And you mentioned the fire. That's interesting because as I've a little bit of history that I know, there was fires on the boulevard. There were.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, everything's changed over the years.
Yeah, they didn't have any good way to fight fires on the boulevard, and a lot of frame buildings. And so very little of that is old. 1900 later, mostly. I don't see anything up there that tells me it's older than that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So everybody remembers the old Boulevard Theater fire, but there were a lot of fires before that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I can even think in time I've been here, there was a couple of bad fires in downtown Madison. That's been fairly recently.
Right.
And you lose that kind of perspective of things after a time.
Yeah, and what went on before is part of the way we are today.
Yeah.
And to understand today, you sort of need to understand what was before, and that's the way history is. From my perspective, you get a better sense of today if you understand the history. Mm-hmm. So that's a personal view of mine. That it's important to preserve these memories because those memories are who we are. We are the sum total, and our behaviors and a lot of our actions are the sum total of all those memories we have.
Yeah, yeah. And I'm wondering, today's generation, how do we get young people interested in things like that, Jim?
I wish I knew. There are some. Yeah. You're always going to have some.
Yeah.
I don't see the same emphasis that we had. When I was in school, we refought the Civil War constantly. Mm-hmm. But I actually had a classmate who seceded his bedroom from the Union.
Oh, okay.
So I don't think they even think about that now.
Yeah.
The computers, the short-term memory, instant gratification. So you can't change it in a hurry, I don't think, but you can sort of chip away at it. And so some of the things I'm doing hopefully will allow it to be chipped away at. That's the goal.
Yeah, yeah. Well, thank you for your efforts there for sure. And you are a retired teacher and educator, and so you've got that perspective as well. Yes,
it was. I was certified. My undergraduate major was history, American and Russian history, and so I went back to school to get certified. So I certified myself in social studies, but then they needed a science teacher like right now, and I needed a job. So, yeah, I took it. Mm-hmm. And 12 years later, I'm certified to teach social studies, earth and space science. So, and I was almost certified in math, but I never went to take the test because I'd signed up for it when I got hired to do the science job.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, you got to watch. One of my problems, if there is one, there is a problem, is I'm eclectic in my views and in my collections and my visions and what I read and the music. I like everything a little bit. Mm-hmm. And it's hard to make a distinction. It sort of keeps me going in many different paths at once. I get tugged one way and then another very easily.
I can relate to that very easily. When everyone else was being a typical teenager, I was being mentored in early radio days by people who helped me appreciate Mondovani and Andre Castellanets and those things. And kids today, who are you talking about? But that's some fine music and just different genres of music. And so I think that's just kind of helps us all kind of round out our lives there.
Yeah, we have some great teachers, and I'm really fortunate to have had those teachers to help me see that sense of the world.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Well, let's talk about our sense of the world at the Eden Historical Museum before our time gets away. And, we kind of vaguely talked about this when we said we'd do this podcast. And I don't want to put you on the spot, but I think I see a series of podcasts here, Jim, if you have time. And I know you're awfully busy. But
No, I'm not that busy. Yes,
okay,
I can help you.
Okay. So I think we need to probably make that happen. But if someone wants to know more about the Eden Historical Museum, how they can volunteer, they're new to the area, they've been here a while, they want to learn more, how's the best way to get in touch with you?
Through Facebook, maybe.
Okay.
There is a museum Facebook page, but unfortunately, it's the age and being torn from different things, I don't update it as regularly as I wish I did. But we do have one. I think most of the data there is current. We're changing the phone to save money. We're dropping the landline, and we bought a digital phone for the museum. It's savable a bunch of money. But we do have a Facebook page, and I do post regularly, or not regularly, but I do post occasionally, but you can reach me through Facebook. And we have a Gmail account, which is EHM656 Washington, Eden Historical Museum, EHM, and the address 656 Washington @gmail.com.
Okay.
And so we look at that with some regularity, too. But nothing looks at and doesn't get answered immediately, so I'm sorry.
Yeah. And that may be a good volunteer position for someone.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. Do you have the new number yet, or is it in service?
Well, the number they gave us is from a business that apparently has had a lot of financial troubles.
Oh, okay.
So we're getting lots of phone calls that people direct to them, and we're trying to find out if we can get a different number now.
Yeah, okay. Well, we'll start publicizing that as soon as you get it and make sure people know how to get to you. Yeah. Okay. Well, and give us your hours. I know you can be open for special events and tours and things like that, but your regular hours are?
10 to 1 on Saturday.
Okay.
But I opened an extra 2 hours recently for a class reunion. I've opened for groups, family groups who want to come in as a group. If you've got a family reunion, and this would be a great thing for them to do if people are coming in from out of town and they've got an hour they need to fill, call me and we'll meet you down there at your convenience. And if I can't, I'll say I can't, but almost always I will be able to.
Yeah. Okay. Well, Jim, thank you for your time and all of your hard work and keeping everything going there, like Melissa, who's the visionary there to get it started. And we'll talk again soon, I'm sure. Thank you, Jim Ivey.
Okay, thank you, Mike. Thanks for all you do.
Have a good week. We'll talk again. Thanks.
Okay, bye.
Our friend Jim Ivey, the man to see there at the Eden Historical Museum, at 655 Washington Street, Uptown Eden. Regular hours are 10 to 1 every Saturday. And the email is ehm656washington@gmail.com. Please discover this wonderful museum right here in Uptown Eden.